Hey, everybody. Good morning, evening, or afternoon, wherever you might be. I am here for our regular Wednesday Beadshop.com live broadcast. So I want to make sure that we are out and running. I'm using a different platform today. As you may be able to tell, it's a little bit different here. So I just need to make sure that you guys can all hear and see me, because as you know, you guys, we have a very special guest today. I'm so excited to have her. So bear with me for one moment while I make sure that our bead shop broadcast, I can see it live. Oh yeah, here it is. I can see it. I can see myself. All right. Hang on a second here. Bear with me here just a second, and I will hang on. I just want to make sure that I can, there we go. I'm all set with that. And there we go. Awesome. So I think you guys can see and hear me okay. Okay. This is awesome. We're learning this new tool here, so I can see you. Janice, you're here, right? Okay, so I am going to bear with me here just a second. As you know, here I am on beadshop.com. Look how fun that is, right? Can you see that? There's the banner. And hopefully we're going to that this is going to go super smoothly, but I'm super stoked. As you know, you guys, we have wonderful Emily Miller with us today. And Emily is going to teach us a brand new thing, right? We've got this really beautiful, the inlaid peyote, 2-drop peyote stitch beads, and she's going to show you a little bit closer up with these, and I'll show you a little bit closer with these as well as we get into the broadcast. But for those of you who have not watched Emily before, because I know that there are so many of you guys who are jumping in, who are like first timers or fairly new. Emily hasn't been with me, I don't know, for a while. So since before this worldwide pandemic. So it's super wonderful to have her with us today. But you can find Emily's trademark for beadshop.com is our Seed Bead School. And if you go to beadshop.com and you see that link that's right on the screen there, you can find all of Emily's really fantastic, what we like to call Seed Bead School with her. Okay, so we're really stoked to have her. So I am going to jump in here, and I'm going to add, Emily looks like she's ready. So let's just let me take this banner off first though, so I can do that. And let's get Emily Miller going on. Emily!
Hi, Kate.
Look what we did. Look how I'm not in the shot. There we are.
Oh my God.
All right.
So good to see you.
Isn't it crazy? Look,
I know.
Look, everybody. There she is. I can't get my pointing the right way. Right? There we go. Oh, it's great to have you. And can everybody, I think, hear us? Both.
It's really nice to be back, Kate.
Oh, and look,
I miss everybody.
Tanya's watching. You can't see her comment, but she commented here. I'm going to show you. I'm going to put it on our screen. Oh, Tim Crawford on the screen. That's awesome. But here is Tanya saying, "Hi,
Tanya,"
which is great. I love it. Love it. Love it.
Tanya, I can't wait to meet your new puppy.
Yeah, it's so, so great. I love it. Let me see if I can get her comment, though, off of the screen. We're just going to have her comment on the screen the whole time. There we go. All right,
That's okay
perfect.
too.
I love playing around with this. So you are going to do a pretty cool project today. So why don't you talk to us a little bit about it, if you would?
Sure. This is kind of one of those projects that's been simmering for a long time. It doesn't have freezer burn because it hasn't been in the freezer. It's been simmering.
Right.
I love the way seed beads can mimic other things. So we've talked about this before where, you're not a metalsmith, but there's ways you can make things that look like they're metal and they're made out of seed beads. It's also really fascinating what you can do with peyote stitch. And there isn't really an end to peyote stitch. There's a million different ways to do it. Even count, odd count, flat, tubular, circular. We haven't scratched the surface. I know that I should say, there are a few people agitating on the bead table to get into diagonal peyote.
Yeah, I know, right?
I know. We're getting there.
Wait for it.
I want you to do this project, and I actually want you to do the next peyote project. Then we will do the diagonal. It will make it easier. Not the diagonal is all that hard, but it does have a funny turn at each end. And so if you feel comfortable with regular flat peyote, and you're comfortable with 2-drop, and you're comfortable with odd count flat peyote, I think you'll be more successful more quickly with the diagonal. And it comes from the Russian bead book, the white one, if you're looking on Amazon for that book.
Yeah, that's my mom got me that one.
It's a hardcover. It's all in Cyrillic. There's no English at all. We don't even know what the title says. It's just called the White Russian book. Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
So, but what it has in it is amazing diagrams, amazing thread paths, easy to follow, and start at the beginning rather than trying to jump into the middle or the back of the book. Most books work from easy to hard as you go through the book.
Right.
So getting back to this project, this has been a long time simmer project for me.
Yeah, and I'm going to show it on the screen right now here.
And
there it is.
I also have
it's kind of covering both of us a little bit, but
it is.
Here. there it is. Is
that better?
Hey, there it is right there.
Wait,
I'll get the overlay a little bit.
There we go.
More. Right there it is.
So there it is. So Kate, stop. The other impetus for this project was actually an old bead, and I collect beads. Not just that I'm always going to work with them, but I like the story and I like to know where they've come from, and I think they're kind of fascinating. So, Kate, I'm going to bring in my other camera. Okay.
Okay. So we're gonna get this show on the road. Okay.
Right. We're gonna get right to it.
Yep. So you bring it into position.
Okay.
Look at that.
You guys get to see a little bit of the magic behind the scenes.
That's right. I'm gonna add it. Look at that. And we're gonna just look at that. There we go.
There we go. I will move this handout out of the way.
Yeah.
It's in the way for the moment. So these beads are made in India or Turkey, and they're inlaid beads. So they're a bead that's coated with a pitch that's at some point soft, and then other beads are inlaid into them.
Yeah, they're so I love them. And
I do too.
Now, Emily, right? Still?
What?
They're still made currently.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So, but they've been around for a long time.
Yeah.
And so they're kind of rustic and a little bit crude if you look at them too carefully.
Mm-hmm.
But at arm's length on a galloping horse, these look pretty cool. And this is where I got the idea for this inlaid look, to have two beads, one that's metal, one that's a color. If you look at your handout of the project, you'll see what I'm talking about. All right. So I did, for this project, make you some charts.
I love that.
You know how I feel about a chart.
You and I feel the same way about a chart. And I'm going to put the where you can find the collection there. It's at beadshop.com. You can go right to collections and past perfect.
Right.
And you can go on and just download the handout, as well as see all of the materials and stuff like that.
You know, we started out the Seed Bead School with a little kit that you could still get on beadshop.com.
Mm-hmm.
And it has 3 colors of beads, black, white, blue, so that you can practice on beads that are really easy to see. Almost every time when I make one of these out of black and white, I want a whole necklace now of these in black and white.
Yeah, they're so cool.
I'm still going to adjust my lighting a little bit. And I'm sorry that I'm speaking a little slowly, but I'm hearing myself in my ear, and so it's a little distracting. But I'll get past that soon enough. I was trying to get you a little bit better lighting.
No, it looks great.
Right? So I also took the time this week to do the stages of this particular stitch and the assembly for this bead. And I did it with white beads, and I did it with a colored thread, so you can see the color. And I will go ahead and make another of these to start off with, so you'll see it from beginning to end. Remember, a stopper bead is not involved in any counts or any kind of patterns, and is only there for the first couple of beads to keep them from falling off. With this particular piece, we're going to make a little strip of beadwork, and then we're going to sew it into a tube. Sorry. I did use my awl to kind of hold on to that.
Your trusty awl.
You can slide it right on an awl or chopstick, small pencil, you know, whatever you got. And when we make that tube, sewing it together, because it's peyote stitch, is very easy. It makes a nice little zipper that you can just close right up. And then you have this lovely blank tube to embellish. Okay. So if I start you off using a chart, we have a modicum of direction. There is fairly straightforward. If you've done peyote stitch a couple times, you might feel very comfortable with this. I typically show my charts from sort of bottom to top. So as I stitch up, but if you stitch down, it's fine. I use my stopper bead in the lower left-hand corner to help me orient myself if I put my work down. So this is a pretty straightforward start and straightforward little process at the beginning. We're going to use even count flat peyote. This time we're going to use it in the 2-drop configuration. So that means that for every stitch you do, you're going to pick up 2 beads and treat them as one. Now we've done that before with brick stitch. It's not so hard. just remember that you're treating those 2 beads as one. Okay? The mantra is the same. I use 1.5 yards of thread. I don't need to add thread during this project. It's pretty easy to do it with just one piece of thread. I do like to wax my thread. You can use KO for this, or I'm sorry, Kate, I blanked off the other thread that we're using a lot these days.
Oh, Hana.
Either one of those.
How about Fireline? Would you use Fireline?
You could.
Mm-hmm.
Fireline is very small and wiry.
Yeah.
And it may not give you the flexibility that you might want initially. We're going to go through a lot of these beads multiple times. So having having the thread fill up the holes is kind of optimum.
Right. And what about, let me ask you real quick, I always like to ask you this question. Are you gonna, it's the great controversy, to wax or not to wax?
I always wax.
Yeah.
The time I don't wax is when I'm doing crochet.
Yeah.
I thread my needle I needle my thread.
Right.
Then I wax it. Then I put on the stopper bead. I know you like to wax and then put your needle on.
Yeah, sometimes. I don't know. Depends on the day, I guess. If I'm trying to channel Emily Miller or not. But anyway, sorry about that.
That's okay. That's okay. Any other questions coming up? I can't see your feed at all.
No. People are super stoked. So
okay.
People are, I'll just tell you here just real quick. Good old Kim Crawford, she is saying she loves your steps.
Good.
Great teaching technique. So that's nice. Thanks, Kim.
Thank you.
There we are.
So typically I will use 1.5 yards of thread, slide on a stopper bead, and that stopper bead, again, not part of any count. Use a different color. You probably have one down in the corner of your bead tray. It's any old bead is fine. When you go through the stopper bead, you're going to go through it one time and then loop around and go through it again. So you have a thread on the outside of the bead, and that's just to keep the first few beads on. Okay. And we're going to pick up 8 beads. So the stopper bead gets 8 beads, 2, 4, 6, 8, and then 2 more. So I do mention this in 2 steps, and it seems to be easier for most people to say, okay, 8 beads, pick up 2, and then you're moving on to that next row. Rather than 10 beads, skip the last 2, go through the 2 after that. It could go either way. So I'm going to take up these, this is 9 and 10, right, on my needle, and I'm going to pick up those 2 beads and go through the next bead. Okay. It's always great about looking at this on the camera live when we're doing that. Is that my chart is wrong.
Oh, perfect.
Perfect. I think I made this chart and I may have added to the bottom. So I shouldn't have had this bottom row. Sorry, guys.
One extra row at the chart?
Yeah, actually, I should have had this row not here, but one up there. So what I would do is pick up a bead, skip a bead, that's these guys, and go through the next bead.
Right.
Okay. Pick up 2 more beads. So this is 11 and 12. Skip a bead, these guys, and go through the next 2. And turn around and go the next direction. So this is going to be 13, 14, skipping these guys, and passing through here, 15 and 16.
What Tanya just commented, is she said it's fine, you just put the stopper on the wrong side.
Oh, that's a good point too, Tanya. Thanks. So it's It's straight ahead peyote. Just remember, it's 2 beads at a time, okay? When you get to 20 rows, peyote stitch is one of those weird ones. It's hard to count the rows. The easiest way to do it is count the beads along the edge, okay? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's 20 rows, okay? You will have one thread coming out where the stopper bead is and one thread coming out on the opposite corner when you have an even number of rows. Is that helpful? That's a nice tip, right? So what I like to do when I'm done with those rows is take my stopper bead away and bury that tail of thread, okay? Bury that tail of thread so that this edge is stable and it's not going to move. And you'll see when I do this with a bead that it wobbles around a little bit, and it's frustrating if you have 2 edges that are wobbling around. Then we're going to join this strip into a tube. So the tube, and you have to imagine with me that there's actually beadwork back here, okay? There's a tube of beads back there. And the 2 ends wrap around and touch one another. And I'll have a thread coming out. And all I need to do is pass through 2 beads, come over, pass through 2, pass through 2, pass through 2. Keep zippering these guys together. And you'll want to go through this a couple times. That zipper wants to be very stable. And as long as you're moving diagonally along the rows, you'll be fine. When you want to end a thread, my best recommendation is to actually end it in the beadwork somewhere. Don't have your final thread come out on an edge. It will always show. So pass right through, come out here, either trim it close with scissor or with your thread burner, okay? So,
and so
this tube,
real quick, Em, we've got a quick question from Barbara that says, do you always use a single strand of thread, not doubled?
I do. Long ago, and I've told this story before, you'll remember it. Long ago, I was a beginning seed beader, and I was extremely worried that my work was going to just fall apart. I did everything with doubled thread. And the doubled thread drove me so crazy because I would split my thread and get terribly tangled. I had knots that would appear in the thread. My beadwork was incredibly stiff. It had no flexibility. That I finally gave up the idea that I needed to use double thread. And I went to using single. And you know what? Nothing fell apart. Almost every bead stitch that you do, you're going to go through the beads more than once. So you are doubling up the thread. The place where threads get fragile is when you're talking about beading with metal beads or crystals, or you're going to use stone or even pearls. Those holes can be rough and the edges can cut the thread for sure. The other thing that I think it's good, using a shorter piece of thread forces you to change threads. So if that thread is getting wimpy and weak, then you change your thread often enough that you don't have to worry. Okay.
And then, real quick, how long of a tail's on your stopper end?
I usually have 6 to 8 inches.
Okay.
The reason I leave so much is that I'm going to put a needle on that, weave it back in, and then it's easy. If you leave yourself 3 inches, that's not enough. So 6 to 8. Thread's cheap. Now with this particular design, you can use the same piece of thread. You don't need to cut it yet. Use the same piece of thread for all of it. The strip, the tube, and 2 different embellishments. Okay? So this is the embellishment of the outside of the bead. And I do picos. Picos are 3 beads. Now these could be where you start to bring your new colors in. And I like to pick up 3 beads. My thread is coming out here. I'm going to pick up 3 beads. I'm going to go right down into the next edge bead. Now again, this is 2 drop. I'm considering these 2 beads as one. I'm going to go through both, come right underneath, and up again to add 3. So this is the tube that we're working on here. Okay? I'm going to continue to add picos all the way around one edge.
And sorry, Emily, you're doing that while it's flat. Is that right?
Nope, I've made it into a tube.
Into a tube. Sorry. Okay, I must have missed that.
That was the last step.
Okay, perfect. Got it.
When I get these picos made on one edge, I'm just going to turn it around, pass my needle down through all the beads to the other edge, and picot again. Okay. And so all the way around the bead. Okay. So I've finished the strip with all the picos. Okay. This could be 1 color, 2 colors, 3 colors, really a lot of choices. And let's go on to this next one. This is the embellishment step. Still using that same piece of thread, and after having buried my end coming out of a picot, coming out of the pair of beads on the edge, I'm going to pick up 5 beads. And I chose 5 because I feel like it kind of rounds out the outside edge of that bead and gives it a little more dimension. I'm going to bring my needle through those 5 beads, back through the pair, and hop over, just like we did with the picot, to the next pair. Come out, 5 more beads, and so on. Okay, till I've used up all the pairs of beads. Now, these pairs that we're using are not perfectly opposite one another. Okay, they're slightly off. And you know what? It doesn't make any difference. It really is fine. If we had done odd count 2 drop peyote, which we could have done, we would have had beads opposite one another perfectly. But it's a small deal. And this will work just fine. So continue on adding these embellishment ribs till you've used up all the beads. Take your tail end of thread, weave through. And I have different thoughts about weaving in a tail. I rather like to change directions a couple times. And that usually is good enough to hold the bead, hold the thread in place. Okay? Then trim it and you're done. So that would put you at this position, right? So I pulled out all the colors that I made the project with. And see if I got my parts all together here.
Those are really pretty. What, any specific inspiration behind those colors?
Yes.
As a matter of fact.
As a matter of fact, I did. Right?
Oh yeah, look, they look just like those beads.
So that was really the inspiration.
That was it. How smart you were.
So the colors that I picked out, and these are all in your in the description online, gives us a lovely gold and coral. 4204 is my gold. The coral is 1236. And these are all in 11s. The copper and a Picasso, 4514 and 4206. And black, 410. Oh, sorry, 401. And really my favorite bead here, 190. Okay.
Yeah, when I see that, I think of that as the Emily bead, the nickel.
That one.
Yeah.
That one and the bronze.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
so
pretty
good.
much my color.
And again, I'll put this right back up on the screen just so that everybody, but I know you guys saw it. You can find all of the handout and the materials list and everything right over on beadshop.com. Just go to, or put in past perfect and it'll come up as well.
Yeah. And I love these beads. You know, some of the downsides to these that's nice about our beads, these are fairly heavy. You wouldn't want more than one of those as an earring. You know, we could make an argument. I didn't think about doing something with a lapis. So
yeah, that would
really
be
pretty bright blue and red. Pretty nice together, right?
beautiful.
Okay, so let me change trays again.
Just real quick, Barbara
Sure.
has a quick question. Can this be done with a larger bead, or do you need to stick to 11/0?
No, you could do it with an 8 if you wanted.
Yeah, it would work.
Yeah.
The bead would just be a tad larger, right?
It would be a bigger bead.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think they actually look cool just as all the metallic too, as an option.
Yeah, I love that all metallic and that all the one that
black and white.
The nickel.
Oh yeah.
Gorgeous.
The nickel plated.
Yeah.
Yep. It's very reminiscent of the old style Bali beads that we used to casually pick up at the bead store.
Yeah, remember those days? They were.
It doesn't really exist any
Stick
longer.
on the ground. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. We'd find things on the ground.
Yeah.
You're right, Kate.
Indeed.
Yeah. Tucson.
You read my mind. We're going back to that same memory.
Oh man, it's bad. So I thought I would go ahead and try doing this with a regular size bead, with the true size beads. And if this feels too small, I have some other beads to demo with. What do you guys think?
They're a little, I'm sorry to actually say, I think they're a little small.
Okay, I gotcha. Look.
Look at that. Done. Bam. Bam. And Michelle,
you wanted bigger beads, right?
Oh yeah, perfect. Michelle's saying the matte and shiny beads of the same color would look terrific, wouldn't it?
Oh, concur.
Yeah.
Yep, absolutely.
And there's the link for the handout for Linda one more time.
Terrific. All right. So these large beads are beads that I just use for demo because they are so big, but they emulate the shape of a delica pretty good. And I'm just going to use some Ceylon here. And this does actually show you one thing that is, it might not be very obvious when you're getting started, but it makes a big, I think it makes a big difference. When you put the needle and thread through the bead, the thread doesn't take up a whole lot of the hole. And that means that these beads kind of wobble around.
Mm-hmm.
So when you scale up to size 8 beads, using them, what's the smallest seal on micro?
Micro. Uh-huh.
Micro. Using micro seal-on might actually be an option. I'd have to test it, but using the KO or the Hana, the 8s are going to wobble around a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So be prepared. Okay. I'm going to use this bead as a stopper. So I pass through it once, and I'm going to pass through it again. So that's our stopper bead. And stopper beads slide. You can slide them up and down on that thread to help keep things in place. Okay. And they slide off at the end when you're ready to remove. So let's get 8 beads on my needle. I also take the time anytime I pick up beads to kind of look at them. You know, even though these beads are made to a much higher tolerance than they used to be, there's going to be irregularities. And it's easier to deal with it now than to slide it off and do something else. Okay? So I'm going to slide those through all the way down. Let me move things up a little bit.
And Janice just wanted to mention, and so that people don't get confused with the seal-on, Janice is saying that size D is actually the smallest size, but you are referring to the micro. Size D is comparable to the KO, correct?
Do we carry a size D?
We do. We carry that in the black and the white.
Yeah.
But you are referring to, I believe, the micro.
I was meaning the micro.
Yeah. Okay. Just clarifying.
Yeah. And like I said, I would want to test it, but even with the 8s, the Hana or the KO would be fine.
Mm-hmm.
There's just going to be that little bit of wobble.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So you put on your your 8 beads, Em?
Let's count them again. 2, 4, 6, 8. Indeed, 8 beads. So 2 drop means 2. Pick up 2 beads, skip 2 beads, pass through 2 bead. Okay. So just like peyote, and this is peyote, 2 sit up on the end. So I'm going to pick up 2 more, skip 2 more, pass through 2 more.
2 drop feels so fast.
I concur. It is.
Doesn't it feel
so?
fast?
It's the same way with the brick stitch.
Yeah.
Yeah. So at this point, I could stop saying pick up 2 beads and just say I'm going to pick up a bead, because now we all know it's 2 beads, right?
Yes. That's looking great, Em.
So you can see the wobble that happens when the thread doesn't fill the hole.
And does that wobble go away a little bit with tension as you maybe complete the bead? Or would you
in this
really
case,
say a thicker thread would be a better choice?
A thicker thread would be a better choice.
Okay.
Yeah. The problem comes with thicker thread that you have to have a needle that you can put the thread in.
Mm-hmm.
And then that is difficult to get a needle that will go through a bunch of beads too.
Yeah, you could use the big eye needle maybe.
Yeah. I find that those wire needles are frustrating to seed bead stitch with.
No, I meant the big eye, the rigid big eye.
Yeah, I know. What you'd use for looming.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've used them for looming.
Yeah. So this does move along right quickly, right?
Yeah, it looks great. And I'll put up, while you're stitching that, I'll remind everybody, for those of you guys who joined us a little bit later, Emily has a ton of Seed Bead School projects up on beadshop.com. And you can find, she's taught us so many things, including, I don't know if you watched our broadcast on Friday. I think you were there, right? My ode to your herringbone. Yeah,
I did. I was so proud of you.
I know. I'm getting there.
If we have time today, I'll show you where mine is in progress as well.
Another 12 years and I'll finish it.
So how many rows do I have here?
I don't know. Let's count.
8 rows.
8 rows.
If you count it on the diagonal, which is another way to count peyote, you would start with the lowest bead and count diagonally across till you got to the edge. And then you would turn and go diagonally again. And then turn and go diagonally again. I find counting edge beads so much simpler. This is exactly what your strip would look like with 20 beads, 20 rows, when you're ready to make it into a tube. Okay. So I'm going to stitch in the end just like I would on a smaller piece.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to take off the stopper bead. Thank you, stopper bead. I'm going to put on a needle. And I'm going to sew in using the diagonals. And I'm going up and down. And here's a change of direction, right? So I worked my way this way. Now I'm coming back this way. And I will change direction one more time. And typically for me, that holds things pretty well. So I've changed direction 3 times. Okay. There's my tail. I just had my thread burner. There it is. Ugh, pandemic. My battery is dead.
Oh, so tiresome.
Oh, no, it's not.
No. Sometimes it takes a little longer than you think.
Yeah. Right? So now that edge is completely stable and it's not going to move around and come undone. So I can continue with this. Stitching along. And you can change, you can take the stopper bead off anytime.
So how many rows total, Em, do you need to
I do 20.
Okay.
And let me just show you what that looks like.
Okay.
Okay. This is the 20 row stitch. There's the stopper bead. Let me see if I can come in a little bit.
Sure. And so, Em, when you're counting the 20 rows, you're counting it from the edge, right? So it's just that you count one row from the edge and the other, correct?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 7, 8, 9, 10. 20 rows.
20 rows. Okay, perfect.
Okay. So on this little sample, I sewed in my tail, and I'm ready to stitch this together to make a tube. Let me get some black beads.
I'm gonna show you this here real quick, just what I've been working on real quick.
Sure.
If you guys can see this, I don't know. This front camera isn't amazing, but I'm working on it. But you can see I started, maybe it feels like the focal point's over here. I don't know. Maybe it's better. Anyway, it's kind of hard to see. We'll get these cameras figured out. Yours is much better than mine. But you can see, these are 8/0 right here.
Good.
And I've just
how does that feel? Does it feel pretty solid?
Yeah, totally solid. So I'm going back to you.
All right.
And now, back to you.
Kate's actually a frustrated director.
I know. I haven't stage managed in so long. Oh. I got my switcher
Remind
right
me to talk to you about something, Kate. Just made me think of something.
Oh.
Okay. So here's my 2 edges. And when we last saw this little sample, you can see that it's got the sawtooth edges. And these will actually wrap around and stitch right into themselves and close up like a zipper. So I have that here. And I'm just going to bring my needle in through 2, reach over to the other side, grab 2, pull it up. 2 more stitches. Oops. And I don't mind turning my beadwork to kind of get to an easier direction. At this point, there really isn't an up or down, and I don't have to worry too much about that. Okay. Now I'm gonna go a little away from the zipper. Sorry. And reinforce those stitches. Pass through the zipper area again. I've got a dog crying outside the door of my studio.
Oh, I
Very
can't hear him.
soft whines.
Oh.
I think it's Hope. I don't think it's Roscoe. But we'll see. They've been banished during the broadcast. And they're not used to being outside when I'm not there.
Right? They're not beating with you all the time, Em?
Most of the time they do. Hope likes to lay as close as she can get. And Roscoe has a blanket that he likes to sleep on.
Right. As you like to say, he's a close talker.
Roscoe can be kind of a close talker. Yeah. He's like one of those people that doesn't know about personal space.
Right.
All right. So we have a tube. Glorioski. And this is a bead, technically. It's not very fancy, but technically a bead.
Yeah, no, it's cool. I like it a lot.
We've talked a little bit before about the flexibility of different bead stitches, and peyote stitch is flexible across its weaving. So this direction horizontally, but not very flexible vertically. Uh-oh, Kate, I look frozen on the screen. Did you lose connection?
No, I still have you. You do look frozen though.
Uh-oh.
Hang on. I'm going to remove that camera. So bear with me here just a second. Hang on. Let's just hold, please, if you might. I'm going to add me as a solo. Here I am. And I'm going to kick out that camera real quick and then go ahead and just add it back in. You can hear me okay?
Yes, I can.
And I will show you guys just real quick then while Emily's fixing that up. And Emily, I'll see when your feed is back in. So I've got you. I'll show you here real quick under this camera if I can. Again, I'll get a better overhead camera for this. It feels like the focal is right down in that corner, right? And so this was the ADOT that I had going on with Emily's thing. And again, I'm sorry it's not as clear as I'd like it to be. But Kim Crawford asked what the thread was that I was using for this. And the thread is, I just grabbed the KO is what I did here. And then and so I'm at rows. I'll tell you how many rows I'm at. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then I'll turn it over here. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. So I'm at 17. And I just kind of dumped out what I had here. Let me finish this. I'm going to put it on my front camera here so it's not so, there we go. There we are. We've got it. And then, let's see. Em, how are you doing over there?
I think I'm back. Are you?
No, I don't see your camera in the feed here.
Okay.
So, did you go out and come back in? I'm going to mute you again just real quick while you're doing that. And so what I've got here, I'll kind of show you this as I'm going along. I'm going to see here. Here's my little piece. I'll measure it for you guys. Where's my... So in the ADOTs, this is about an inch, kind of hard to see, about an inch of beadwork. Let me count it and see again how many rows, just to make sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Yep. Oh, and I think, Emily, I believe that your camera is back. So let me add it. We're good. I'm going to add you, Em. Nope. Black screen. Sorry. I'm going to kick it off one more time, and you can re-add it. Okay. I'm going to solo me. Whoops, sorry, Em. There we go. I've got you in the stream, but I've got you muted. So I'm just going to keep vamping until you get there. That's the beauty of a live broadcast. Thanks, Janice. It's super sharp because I cleaned the lens of the camera. Who knew? I thought that was okay. So I'm going to stitch one more row. And let's take a look. Not too bad though for the split screen. We'll make it happen here. There we go. So I'm going to count. Am I up to 18 rows? I think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Okay, so in ADOT, it's not going to be super clear, but I'm going to try. Putting this back on the camera. Bear with me here just a second. And let's go back to the USB camera here. There we go. Again, it's not as crisp as I'd like it. But here is the, I'll put that right there so you guys can see it. That's the ADOT. I'm going to check the lighting on mine just real quick. Whoops, sorry about that. I don't know if that makes it any better, maybe not. But it looks like Emily's demo camera is back up. So let's go back to Emily. Shall we?
I'm back, but I'm
there we go. Well, we can do the rest of this one in Portrait Gallery.
Yep. Okay, we're back in business, I think.
Yeah.
Kate, you just let me know when you're ready to go.
Yeah, do it. You're good. You're
okay.
on. You're
all
on.
right. So thanks everybody for hanging in.
Yeah.
This is the Pico step. And
just in time.
I have my thread coming out of the edge bead. I've picked up 3 beads. I'm going to go back down the neighbor. Pull it around. Ah, Pico. Remember to always come back up before adding the next beads. I do find that these beads kind of happen along fairly quickly. You know, Drea sent me an email and said, "How long is this going to take?" It's like, it's hard to say, but I think you could do this in a few hours. Oh, look what I almost did. Didn't go back up again. So this could be a different color or a metallic. You know, with the 4 beads that we chose, the colors and the options are pretty limitless.
Yeah.
Do an all coral, an all gold, a golden coral, a coral and gold. Okay.
They all look so good together too.
Yeah. So here's my final Pico on this side. So I'm just going to wiggle my way through the beads to the other end of the bead. And continue the Pico. Are you guys able to see this pretty well?
Yeah, it looks up. Yeah, it looks good.
Okay, good.
We'll also raise it a little bit up to the camera a little bit.
How's that?
Yeah, there we go. With the black bead, it's a little hard to see, but I think we're getting the hang of it.
Okay. When you go to make these beads into a necklace, we strung them with that amazing honey yellow serpentine. And you can string them a little bit snugly, and that will cause these picos to flare out a little bit. Kate will show you in a minute.
Yeah.
I didn't put any beads underneath these beads. So one way to handle beads that have a large hole is you could string some beads inside. You guys did that with Kate's herringbone just last week.
Mm-hmm.
And you could do that with stringing these beads as well. All right. That's my last herringbone. Or pico. Sorry.
The last pico.
And I mean, it's kind of cool just like that.
Yeah, it looks really cool.
Right? Okay. Let me grab another color, because that'll be very easy to see. All right. I'm going to grab 5. And this is the moment where it's okay to take a moment and look at the beads on the needle before you stitch. Okay? I'm just going to go straight across to a pair on the edge, go through, and then down the neighbor. Doesn't matter here if you stitch clockwise or counterclockwise.
Mm-hmm.
No diff. I'm going to go up, down the beads, and up the pair on the edge here, and pick up 5.
And so those are the across the all of those little embellishments, right?
Yeah, these are, I would consider them an embellishment.
Mm-hmm.
We could do more here if you wanted.
Mm-hmm.
We might do 7, and it would really stick out.
You could use, and I'm going to put this up one more time, the materials list. It's covering your hands for just a second, but
sure.
You can find all of this here. Now, what you're stitching on the front M are also 11/aughts, right?
Yes.
Could you, if you had another small bead, like a 2 millimeter, let's say round bead or metal bead or anything else?
Hold that thought.
All right, I'm holding.
What about a bugle? We could do bugle beads.
Yeah, bugles would look really cool, right?
Right.
And just an FYI, I don't know if you can move your light at all. We're getting a little bit of a shadow on you.
Sure.
That. We really appreciate you guys hanging in with our inaugural.
The light over here on the right?
Yeah. That's the one. That's the one. But I think these few little technical difficulties are completely worth having you here.
I hope so.
Oh, I think so. We'll get it down.
I sure miss hanging out.
Yeah, we missed you hanging out too.
As I was getting ready this morning, I was thinking, wow, no Jamba Juice.
No, that was your...
I usually go to Jamba Juice
on
my way to the Beadshop.
You'll be able to come back to Jamba Juice again.
I know.
So thanks again, you guys, for we super appreciate. But Emily has a fantastic handout for this, and don't you worry. I'm going to show you while you're stitching that, Em. I'm going to go back to my not great camera over here.
Okay.
And I'll show you guys. Let's see, where am I on this? Let me maybe if I get it a little closer, further down.
I'm almost done.
There we go. You guys can see my A dots. Oh, I'll show you here while you're stitching. It feels like this, like your necklace is the only thing that's in
Focus.
that's in focus. Let me see.
No, I do have.
There we go.
I have some lenses for my camera here.
Oh yeah, that may work too. This is just a kind of a random, random webcam, so I can get a much better one. But I wanted to show you guys this. Here's the A dots that I did, and again,
Yeah, it is really out of focus.
This camera doesn't love finding a focus, but here's the A dots, and I did 18 rows of this.
Do 2 more.
And so I've already closed it.
Okay.
So, and it's given me a pretty big tube with the A dots.
Right.
So it's pretty big. But anyway, so it works great. It looks great with the A dots, I think. I might even make it a couple of rows less so it's a super tight. But if you put something in there like cord or whatever, I think it'll stand up.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to go back to your cam there.
Okay. Yeah, I finished the embellishment.
Mm-hmm.
And I love these beads.
Yeah, I like them too. They really look great. And I think what's fun, and you have 5 beads on there, right, Em?
Yes.
And will you raise them up a little bit closer to the camera? Maybe we can see. Yeah. Yeah, that's a little clearer. That's great.
I think I need a bounce light off my ceiling.
Yeah.
To that doesn't work at all.
Yeah.
I have 5 lights going here.
Right? I know. Like when we film those big shows, when we do like beads, baubles, and jewels and stuff, it's the lighting that just kills.
Well, that last one helped a little bit, I think.
Yeah, that's a lot better. That's a lot better. Thanks. Yeah. And again, thank you guys so much for being so patient with this. We really appreciate all of your likes and your sticking with us on this. Again, it's so worth having Emily here. We'll get this remote broadcast up and running. Looks good. So
I'm going to just weave in this last tail. And, And
that's your story.
And that's the story. Yeah.
And so Ginger's asking, how do you keep them from collapsing on the necklace? And so that's when I'm going to move it to this camera real quick, Em, while you are doing that, right? And I will show this here. I'm going to show me in the front. It might be a little bit easier for you guys to see. So, and you can see on the project map, Ginger and everybody, on the page on Beadshop, what Emily chose here to string these on is we used an 8mm bead, and they don't sit perfectly because when I crimped this, I think I left a little too much slack in the necklace. But let me hold it up here so you guys can see. Let me actually get a background for it.
And you know what, Kate? I thought about this later.
Mm-hmm.
You should have done this as a stretchy bracelet.
Yeah, a stretch bracelet I think would look great. And I think also for something like this, I might, when I restring this, if I restring this, I would slide maybe a 6/0 bead on the inside.
Sure.
Right? So here's my 8mm here. And then there's the bead that Emily made. Underneath there, I'd probably put some 6/0 just to stabilize it a little bit. So if it has movement, then it's fine. I'm having trouble working the camera here. But so that's that. And again, you can see it on the collection page. I think it's really pretty. But I really love, and I'm going to go back to the ones you're working on. I really love the colors you chose. I think they're great. I think they mix really beautifully together. I think that you could also, when you are, just make a bunch of these and then just see what they evolve into, right?
Yeah.
That's a great way to do it. I see your beeswax. I see your glasses. I love it. They look really nice. Anything else you want to show about those, Em?
I kind of feel like I'm done with them.
I think they look great.
I know that there's going to be a black and white necklace coming out of this.
Yeah, they're really beautiful.
I really love it.
And I finally just grabbed here. Let me go to this camera.
Oh, it looks lovely on the neck.
There you go. It's a little bit easier for you guys to see on the neck. There it is. Whoops. I can't get it straight though. Em, if you want to swing your demo camera out of the way, I'll put you back.
Let me close that hot light a little bit. Ooh. So bright. Okay.
Let me get you going on here. All right, here we are. Look at that. Well,
we did it.
Time, of course, let me put on where the handout and everything is. You did a great job. The handout, I think, is really super easy to follow. So people will be able to download that. You can go right over to beadshop.com and grab that. Also, for Emily's Seed Bead School, you can find it right here at this link. So what's up next? So, Em, you're talking about what's our next project that we're going to be working on here?
I have 3 in the works. I think, is that right? Yeah. One of which I'm wearing today.
Oh, should get that a little closer. Get that a little. Oh, give me that ring. That's real nice.
So I love a peyote ring. I do. And this is, I think, an easy project to do odd count on.
Mm-hmm.
Because it lets you have that center. So even count, because it's an even number of beads across, you never get to have a center line.
Right.
Odd count. Get you a
and
center.
So that ring is odd count that you're wearing there.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, it's really cool. So we've got a couple of questions. Let me take this banner down so I can show some of the, pardon me, some of the questions we've got. We've got here, this piece would look great with a herringbone rope. So you could do herringbone rope and slide these on.
Well, they would be great on that.
Yeah.
Kate, where you split your herringbone,
mm-hmm.
You could do like 3 beads on
and
that.
then bring them back. Yeah, that'd be really cool.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
And then Linda wants to know, can you use delicas with this bead?
Sure.
It would be okay, right?
The embellishment beads on the outside aren't going to be as graceful a curve.
Mm-hmm.
The delicas are a bit square. But for the rest of it, sure.
Yeah, that's great. And then what else do I want to say? Oh, Cindy Brooke was asking these earrings. So these are an ode. I wore all my Emily stuff today. These are your brick stitch earrings.
Yeah.
Anticline, I think.
I love it.
Yeah.
I found my herringbone that I was working on.
Yeah, will you show it?
Sure. I was tickled to see you bring yours out the other day.
I love that piece.
So finding my bag of stuff, bag of tricks that I usually bring to Beadshop, it was very sad pulling out all the projects that I've done. And so let's see. So there's a bit of it.
Oh, and is that a delica or is that a rocal?
It's an 11, a rocal, a round bead. Yeah.
Nice.
And I've got 3 pieces with lots of threads hanging down.
Oh, it's real nice.
Oh, there go the darks.
There they go.
Roscoe barking in the background.
Well, it's like what I want to say that like when those broadcasters, when they're broadcasting the news or whatever, and then their kid wanders in. right?
Next time we'll have the dogs come in and say hello.
Earrings. And then here's the, oh, hang on just a second. I was going to put up the link for the
And I'm
tassel
going to
earring.
be very broadcaster and say,
That's right. So the earring, the brick stitch tassel, that's what I'm wearing here. Okay.
I love the brick stick earring. I'm so tickled to see it. It's really coming back, actually.
Yeah, and there's all kinds of, it's a great jumping off point, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
So many of these. Well, thank you so very much. I'm going to flash this one more time. Your beautiful necklace was really great. I love the honey serpentine that you chose.
Me
And
too.
then you guys can see it, and you can see it when you go on the website as well. But you can see I added just a tiny little brass spacer in between to kind of bring a little bit of metal in there because I like metal, as you know.
Yeah, the honey serpentine is also one of those old beads. It doesn't look old.
Yeah. No, I love it, love it, love it. Well, I think, and I've got mine here. I just have to weave in, and then I have to put some embellishments along the outside. So we'll see what happens. I can't get my right and my left with this camera. There we go. Well,
Right. Yeah.
Thank you so
much. Kate. Thanks, everybody.
Yeah, it was a good first run. I really appreciate all of you all coming in and joining us. And you and I will work on some new projects.
Yep.
So thanks so much. It was great, great, great to have you.
Yeah. Thanks, guys.
All right. We will see you soon.
Yep.
Okay, everybody. So wasn't that fantastic? Emily was amazing, and I will finish this bead. We've got a little bit of work to do with this dual broadcast, but I really, 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 really appreciate you guys hanging in there with us. Now, remember, you can find everything about this project over on beadshop.com under our collections, under past perfect, and you'll be seeing much more of Emily as we get this kind of dual broadcast down. I did also want to mention that you guys can go right to beadshop.com and sign up for our newsletter. We're doing a lot of great communications with you on the newsletter. Drea does an amazing job. And so it's a whole lot of fun over there. We've got a lot of really fun things coming up because you know what next month is? It's September. And you know what September is? My birthday month. And you know what I like to do for my birthday month? A lot of fun stuff. So jam right on over to our website, beadshop.com, and you can sign up for our email list. You can also, we've got all kinds of fun new stuff that is just launched, great things. On Friday, today is Wednesday, August 26th, if you're watching this live. So you want to make sure and look at the newsletter on Friday. Now, next week on Beadshop Live on Wednesday, Free Tip Friday, we have something special, and that has to do with the newsletter, and you'll see it then. But next week, we've got a new trio of projects coming up from the one and only Allie Morey. She has made 3 pieces that are amazing. Then Brittany's going to be with us as our guest, and we're going to have her twice. We're going to have her on Free Tip Friday, where we're making a brand new earring component. Then we're going to take that earring component on Wednesday. And some of you who are in our Beadshop Bead Table group have seen that earring. She's going to work out a beautiful macrame earring that is going to go in our Bollywood earring series. So we would love to have you in our group. If you go right over to our beadshop.com, you go to our Facebook group, give a search for Beadshop, the Bead Table, and we'd love to have you there. So that is my story. I'm sticking to it. We really, really appreciate all of your likes and your shares and you sticking through with us on this inaugural split screen broadcast. So thank you again, and I will see you Friday for Free Tip Friday. Thanks a lot, everybody. Talk to you soon.